It's only natural to think about time's fleeting nature when you watch grains of sand through an hourglass. And it's hard to avoid similar thoughts when you look at the works of the artist Martha Teichner has been to visit.
Jim Denevan is a maker of moments. He is about the perfect wave caught. The gentle geometry of a dinner table in an urban garden on one warm September evening. Or this colossal design drawn in the sand. Soon to be washed away by the tide. He is an artist whose art is the ephemeral, like the sound of his whistling, there and then gone. Once you know that about Jim Denevan, the rest makes sense. All the very different things he does.
So if we had one table, it would go all the way out?
It's 17 tables.
It's 3 hours and counting before 130 people show up for a 5-course meal at the Coleman Farm in Carpinteria, California, north of Los Angeles.
No, I think it's more visually interesting.
Let's have one long table.
And the inevitable discussion about the tables is taking place.
It could be conducive to 2 tables.
For Denevan, the issue is art. For Katie Ausler, his partner in the enterprise, it's practicality.
Maybe we'll take a vote.
He's the idea man. She handles logistics. Outstanding in the field is what they call the farm feasts they put on all over the country to make people understand where their food comes from.
I think scoot it back because it'll be a shorter distance.
Is the process of all of this art?
This process is art, but it's a little rude to say you're coming to my art installation. It's more, it's a more convivial or friendly, or more human to say, you know, we're having dinner together. Welcome to a Coleman Farm. This is the 67th Outstanding in the Field dinner.
Hi. Hi. How are you, ladies?
Good.
Guests pay $180 to cover costs.
I bought this farm in 1964.
And dinner for all the farmers whose products are being served.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. This doesn't happen when we head to Chicago. It's a completely different group of people, right?
For the price of admission, there is food, wine, and a story they all find themselves written into.
So these are our plates, and we're starting our Sisterhood of the Traveling Plates.
Everybody brings their own plates.
I've been buying from these farmers, from the Coleman Farms, for many years, and they're just very, very great friends of mine. And
a well-known area chef puts together the menu.
I wouldn't trade this in for anything. This is,
in this case, Richard Mead, owner of the Sage restaurants in Newport Beach.
There's some bok choy and gailan that comes from the farm here. We're going to do a fish course with a local white bass.
Everything has to be from the farm or within 100 or so mile radius of it. The dinners are like a cross between a picnic and performance art. And Jim Denevan finds beauty in the moment he's created. This day, with this meal, on this farm. It all started with surfing. In Santa Cruz, California, where he's lived since he was a teenager, they called him the King. Here he is in a documentary about legendary surfers called Thread.
You can be just crushed by the most powerful forces and then pop up after the wave's passed and then take on the next wave. It's an incredible, the feeling of being immersed in nature.
Denevan wanted and needed to be immersed in something. The second youngest of 9 children, his father died when he was 5. His mathematician mother was overwhelmed. 3 of his brothers were diagnosed as schizophrenic. Eventually, Denevan took off for Europe, where, with his surfer's body, he modeled and also learned about food. Back home in Santa Cruz, he became a chef, at first mainly in order to surf during the day. Devastated when his mother developed Alzheimer's disease in the mid-1990s, Denevan took to drawing in the sand. These drawings can cover an entire beach. They're huge.
My drawings are completely freehand. They're not measured. It's just like a drawing on a piece of paper, but my piece of paper happens to be a few miles across.
He stands, rake in hand, studying the horizon, picking out landmarks, thinking. And then he sets out.
It's a continuous dance. I love the aspect of it, that the first mark leads to all other choices that relate to the first mark.
The film Sandman captures the extraordinary process. Denevan can easily walk 20 miles before he's done. Then the tide turns and washes the drawing away.
It's its own day. I mean, it can't be repeated. I like that aspect of it. That when it washes away, that's just today's story. Another day will be a different story.
Photographs are all that remain of the incredible forms Denevan creates. He finds it ironic that images meant to be temporary should end up in a branch of New York's Museum of Modern Art or in a Range Rover commercial. For Jim Denevan, it's all no more, no less than a meditation on the moment.
To get out there on the beach every day and to lose every time a drawing that's a mile across, it's a great fight. It's a worthy opponent.
The next story may take place in the middle of Manhattan, in a community garden, at one long curved table.
Hello, everybody. This is our 75th dinner, I think.
150 people have shown up, some for their second, third, or even fourth outstanding in the field dinner.
The common denominators between the surfing and the food and the sand art is that they're all nature. They're in nature.
The chef this time is Michael Anthony from one of New York's best restaurants, Gramercy Tavern. And as the light fades and turns soft, the evening Jim Denevan has choreographed turns into art. To know Jim Denevan is to understand how perfect it is that he was born on June 21st, the longest day of the year, when the sun and the earth are in harmony, but just for a moment.